Hi, I'm Cathy. You may recognize my hands from previous videos, but you probably don't recognize my face. I am not comfortable in front of a camera, and it has taken a pandemic for me to finally film facing the camera. In April, I offered a class to my customers called my a la carte card class. And they were to match up with me 4 different stamp sets. And I had 4 people sign up, and it took 14 projects to get us to match up so that they could get their kits. So I have a lot of projects that are going to be coming up on my channel in the next couple of days. This introduction will be on each and every one of them, but it will, down in the bottom here, show you the minute mark of where you can skip this introduction and go on to the card making. They will be put in a playlist called April a la carte card class. That's so hard to say. And each one will have that description, the person who signed up for the card, and the stamp set. And that way, as you're making your projects, you can just go to your 4 projects. Those of you that are just watching to get inspiration, you're welcome to look at any and all of them. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you stay healthy and safe during this pandemic, and hope that we can all begin to get back together stamping very soon. Here's the final card for the April a la carte kits that I did this month. I hope everybody is enjoying doing these. It was a lot of work to get all of these done for everyone, but I really had a great time at it. So here's the last card. It's kind of the wow card, and this is for Denise, using the Painted Poppies stamp set and dies. And also here's a card for the sentiment. Denise, you can use whatever sentiment you have. You're just going to need to make sure that it fits on this label. So let's get started. For cardstock, you're going to need a piece of black that measures 5.5 by 10.5. And we'll get back to that on how to make that. Let me get these other pieces out. I had put them in an envelope. You're going to need a piece of Poppy Parade that measures 3.25 by 5.25, and then 2 pieces that measure 1.75 by 5.25, and then you're going to need 8 pieces that measure 7/8 of an inch by 1 3/8 of an inch. In Whisper White, you're going to need a piece that is 3 by 5, and you'll need a piece or 2 pieces that are 1.5 by 5. This is a die cut from the Painted Poppies bundle. And this piece, you'll need it to be about 2 3/4 by 1.5 to cut out this piece. And then you'll need some Whisper White that's going to give you the ability to die cut 2 of the large flowers and 1 of the small flowers. And then out of the DSP, you're going to cut these, and there's 8 of them, and it's 3 3/4 by 1 1/4. I used the subtle embossing folder and the bird ballad trinkets, and we're using the little flower and the bow. And let's get started with and then the blends that I'll be using are the Poppy Parade Light and Dark and the Old Olive Light and Dark. Let me get everything kind of out of my way here because I need to bring a cutter in. All right. Let's see, make sure that, yep, you see it down here at the bottom. So this is just a recommendation for anybody who's making this card or anything that you're doing multiples of the same cutting or doing several cards with it. It just helps. What I've done is I've taken a piece of washi tape and I have marked where my cuts are, and you'll see when I go to do that. So I am going to score this. I need to pull this out. Make sure, yep, you're seeing everything. Okay, so I'm going to need to score this at 3.5. And then at 5.5. And then at 7. And then at 8.5. Okay. And then I'm going to turn it this direction. And between these two here, this 5.5-inch score line and the 8.5 is where I'm going to cut. So I'm going to be cutting in this middle section. And I am going to cut between those at 3/8 of an inch. So right here. And I do have a little mark, but it's kind of worn off here. So I'm going to come down here. And between that score line and this score line, this score line and this one is where I'm going to cut. And then I'm going to move it over to 1 3/8. So here at this mark, and so that's why I did this. I set these marks so that it'll help me to make sure I'm doing it in the right spot. And then I'm going to move over to 1 5/8. So just over a little bit. And I'm going to score or cut again. And then 2 5/8. Now I've seen different people do this card. And one of the things I've seen them do is fold at the 7-inch. Let me do this and then I'll talk to you about that. Okay, so my next one is 2 7/8. And then the next one is 3 7/8. And 4 1/8. And then finally at 5 1/8. Okay. Let me move this out of the way. So some people I've seen actually take and have their paper, say, solid like this, and they fold it at that 7-inch mark, and then they're only having to cut down to this line on each. The problem for me is that you've folded these pieces, end up folding in them both directions, and they'll want to fold forward as well as back, and so they won't stay in this position quite as well. So that's why. So when I'm going to do this, I'm not going to let that one here on these pieces fold forward at all. So I'm going to turn this actually this way, because this large, that is a 3.5-inch score. That's the front of my card. So I'm going to fold that to the back like that. And then I'm going to fold this one forward this way. Okay. And then now I'm going to start working with these, and I'm going to kind of fold this one, press that forward while pressing that back. Press that back, press that forward, back. And just kind of slowly press them the direction you want them to go. Okay. Sometimes it's easier to turn it from this way. Now see how they're wanting to fold that way. So I'm slowly pressing them this way, like that. And then you'll fold this one forward. So now they go like this. And this one doesn't want to have these fold forward like this one does. Because if I stretch this out, see how that one stays with it? It doesn't want to go back the other way. So I'm having to play with them to get things to go the way that you want them. So that's why we want to do it this way. Okay, so now we've got this folded and ready to go. So let's start creating the card. So all these little pieces are going to be matted onto all these little pieces. So we'll just flip these over, and you'll just mat these like this. And I won't do all of these because it's pretty obvious what you do with them. Okay, and then they are each going to go onto each of these panels here. So again, just adhere these down to each of these. So just like that. Okay, so those will run up both sides. So I'll move those out of the way. On the two small white strips, we're going to get our Memento ink, and on one we're going to take the Poppies, and whichever section of them you want, because obviously it's much longer than your the strip. We're just going to stamp at the bottom the Poppies, and on the other one we're going to stamp this flower here, and we'll put that over to the left a little bit, just like that. Let those dry a little bit. We'll take our sentiment and put that on this piece here. And I'm kind of centered. So on the sample, I've got the little bow up here and I've got the flowers. So you don't want it perfectly centered. You want it a little bit higher than center because this is a smaller piece than this. So just a little bit up from center is where you want it. Okay, and so that may be a little bit too high, but that's all right. So that would go there and that will go down there. So you may want to actually glue these down with glue dots and then place your sentiment. So that might help make it get in the location you want. All right, so we'll set that to the side. And on the front piece, you've got, I've got these cut out, but you're going to have a scrap piece of Whisper White like this. And you're going to stamp the 3 flowers. And I've got 2 of these. And I've got 1 of these like that. And then I'm going to die cut those out. And that's what these are. And Denise, I believe I did some die cuts for you, and all you have to do is hopefully line them up well enough. So we're going to color these, but for my stamping, I'm going to think about where I'm going to place these. So like there, and this one down here, and this one here, okay? So now I can take my leaves, and I want this one up here so that I can see them. So I'm going to then move those out of the way, and I'll have an idea of where I want that to be. And then again, over here, I want to have an idea, so I'll move that out of the way and place that there. I'll then color these with the blends, and I'm just going to use the dark olive for just the veining in them and the stem. And these ones here at the base probably aren't even going to be seen. And then I'll just color these real quickly. And now that that's done, I'm going to take this and put it through my machine with the subtle embossing folder. Okay, there we go, and it's now embossed. And then I'm going to take my scissors, and I don't know if you remember this technique, but I'm just going to rough up this edge a little bit using the blade. And you can decide how much. Now, if you have our old tool that used to do this, pull that out and use that. I don't know where mine is. It's somewhere around here, but you can just do it with your scissors. And that will go on to your Poppy Parade mat. Just like that. And then these 3 need coloring. So first I'm going to take the light one, and I'm just going to draw along the stem lines because I do want a hint of the green, even though there isn't a gap for that. I still want that look. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And then on this one, and then I'll color these in. I'm going to put this darker down at the base, and then down here where there would be shadowing on that, maybe some of those. And then on this one, I just chose to do some in the dark and some in the light. So like every other one type of a thing. Just pick some of them to be dark and some of them to be light. So those are all set, and they will go on to these pieces. And those will come in here. This one's right over here. It's placed in there, and then this one will be on the front. We'll get some dimensionals for our little label. And that'll be placed up here in the top. We'll go ahead and color our 3 florals. And again, I follow shadowing, and along the back ones, probably need to switch over to the other. And then I'll color in this center area. I'm going to switch over to the other point. I have a little better control with it. Normally I'd do a better job blending these, but that takes a little bit of time, and you probably don't want this video to be an hour long while I blend out my flowers, so we'll get them just colored. Not worry about quite so much of the blending. Okay, I went ahead and blended those out a little bit more. And one of the tricks I use for giving it even more depth is to take the color lifter and just kind of put that into the center areas of the petals on anything that I think should be coming forward. And it gives them even more depth. And I really like that look. So I'll just kind of put a little bit more, and that changes them just ever so much. There we go. All right, so 2 of them will be glued down with adhesive. And it'll be this one here at the bottom. And because this one's not cut out quite as well or stamped right in the right position, and this one's better, this is the one that I'm going to have be on top. And I can hide some of these sins here with this other one. So I'll put that there. And then this one will be on dimensionals. There we go. And placed right there, just like that. And then finally, I'll get my glue dots and place my flower here. And then for these little bows that are not quite big enough to cover the whole glue dot, go ahead and just pull it off and then just fold the glue dot over and down and then place that up above here. And all I have to do is finish out all of those other little panels here, and it will then look just like this one here. So that is the final a la carte April class card, and this one is for Denise. Denise, I hope you enjoyed that.